Keith, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
And thanks for having Rip join us as well.
Did you see Rip?
I didn't see him.
No. Go let him
No,
out.
we saw we saw him. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your what you did with dogs in your career.
I spent 25 years in law enforcement, and 18 of it was on K-9. I had 3 dogs on K-9. I'm sad to say I had to outlive all 3 of them. None of the dogs lived till 10. We wore them out real good, and it was pretty sad sometimes. Some nights days you'd work a dog and you'd see him come up lame, or he just was wearing down. It wasn't their minds. They're not like people. It's their bodies that give out. And a lot of supplements, the best food you could buy. We treated them like high-speed athletes. So I spent the last 5 years of my career with the DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency. I was on a HIDTA task force in charge of K-9 units. So we were chasing dope. And the most exhausting thing, believe it or not, a dog has to do is use his nose. So you can only search for about 20 minutes. So what you're looking to do is keep these dogs cardiovascular fit, physically fit. We train them all the time. Federal mandate for us is, 16 hours a month. You've got to have training logs of what you're doing with the dogs. So this wasn't a career where, you work 4 or 5 days, put the dog up, and that's the end of it. You're 7 days a week, 24/7 responsible for that guy. So where you guys, for me, pop in is we were always looking for a supplement, to enhance the dog, to give that dog the better quality of life.
And for recovery, right?
Prevention is always better than the cure, but now you get into an injury or something, we're doing anything we can to get them where they want to go. And, of course, to get them back on the job, if somebody came in and said, hey, would you sell that dog? These dogs are invaluable. We put so much time and so much energy. And then you talk about the handler, somebody like myself, my heart's in that guy. When you talk about a guy that will save your life, without even thinking about it. People would ask, what's the best thing about K-9, being a K-9 officer? Well, that dog, if you hit me, he bites you. If I hit you, he bites you. I'm always right. I'm always right with the dog. So people won't back you like that. People will not back it. The dog doesn't care. So there's an honor that goes with it. But he's my responsibility. He's in my care and custody. And I want to give him the best quality of life. Now we flip over, I'm retarded, whatever you want to call it. And now we've got a situation, my wife bought me a dog, an import, and he's 9 years old, and I'm getting nervous, because of what happened. So I'm very, very careful with him. But, when you get into where I'm at, and I'm a little different than everybody else. I mean, my dog he doesn't stay home. He's with me all the time. Now I'm kind of handicapped too. I have I call them my service dogs. I'm not very stable from all those years working police. So now I have a dog or 2, and I want to keep them going as long as I can. But you get to the tail end of their journey. Their quality of life is your responsibility. But you guys are stepping up with these supplements, and I'm always interested in a new supplement. Always interested. Because, people think, do they ever get bored of eating the same food? No, they're survivors,
Especially if they're working hard,
right? You bet. And when they're working, as you'll see, you get in the field with Slade or some of these other people, and you see what these dogs do. We're asking a lot of these dogs. But you know what? The dog wants to work. That's his job in life.
They enjoy it.
Oh, whether he's guiding for the blind, finding bombs, dope, chasing bad guys, herding animals, sheep, cattle. I mean, that's what they're bred to do. That's their mission in life. They need a mission. So on the flip side, when you work in a dog for dope, for example, and we're in Las Vegas, and this is like the FedEx for narcotics.
They have drugs here?
They've got, it's like the I-15 is like a thoroughfare. So the dope's going north and the money's coming south. So we're out there in a task force of 10 of us. So we'll pull over an 18-wheeler. So we're talking big trucks, big dope. If we find it, it's in there, but it's a load. So what we'll do is we'll go up and crawl that load, the entire length of that trailer, but we bring the dog with us. So as we're looking with a flashlight, that dog's doing a low crawl and looking for that dope too. Those dogs climb those loads. They're working their nose. Remember, I mentioned the most exhausting thing they have to do is work their nose. The odor work is tough, but they're also working their bodies. And the dogs will fall. They'll trip. They don't care. They'll climb over a wall. They'll do whatever needs to get the job done. You know, we have a saying in police and in military and in K-9, train hard, fight easy. So the training's always on. The training's real strong, and we're always training. I say we're always training. I'm out. I'm retired. I still miss it like it was yesterday. I still miss it.
I mean, these dogs are pretty well trained you've got here. You still clearly put a lot of time and
It'd be
effort
embarrassing for me to have a dog that wasn't trained. The only dogs that really aren't trained in my house are my wife's dogs.
How long does it take for you to train like a puppy into an operational police dog?
It's a good question. We don't start with puppies.
Oh, you don't?
No, we go out and we find young adults and we test them for the job. For example, narcotics work or odor work, bomb, whatever. We're looking for a dog we're looking for the hunting drive in the dog. What goes back to his DNA as a wolf, to hunt and not give up on the hunt. And that hunt is, for example, if I throw 2 balls in the lake and the dog would rather drown than not bring both dogs back, that's a dog I'm interested in on the street. We'll put a ball or some toy in a tree. This is testing for these dogs. And if that dog doesn't want to leave that tree until he gets that ball out of there, that dog's up for grabs for what we're doing. So now your next question is, how long does it take for training? These dogs are what we call maybe rough trained. Maybe they're come from a sport situation with the Schutzhund or whatever they're doing, or the ring sport in the Malinois. And what we'll do is we'll get the dog. We start an academy. We'll place a handler with the dog, and we'll do a 6-week academy. Now you ask me how long do you train? You always train. You're training for the dog's life. Always train. And the dog likes that. The dog needs that. But here's a great, on my first dog, I threw the ball a lot for the dog. Well, the dog, as he's running, he can, turn in different directions. The ball makes a turn. He makes a turn. They slip a disc. They ding an elbow. They rough up a hip. We stopped throwing the ball for the dogs. We swam the dogs. Where I worked, we had private lakes. We used the golf course people would let us use their golf courses just to swim the dogs. Other than cycling, bicycles, it's the best. It's the best for. You can't get a dog to ride a bicycle, by the way, but it's the best for the dog.
I was going to ask.
No, you don't have to. I already caught you.
What are all the jobs that dogs do in the police department?
Well, it's explosives, narcotics, of course, what we call patrol, which is hunting a man or stopping a man. They're great for crowd controls, cadavers, finding dead bodies. The fire department will use them for arson, for sniffing for accelerants. So, we used to believe that the last frontier for police and military, of course, technology is always evolving, but the real true last frontier is the K-9. Now, when I retired, there was over 60,000 K-9s, working K-9s in this country.
Wow.
Yeah. So we honor them. We honor them. They honor us. They ask nothing in return. They just want to go to work.
I'd love to hear more about your partners that you had, or your K-9s.
Yeah, my first dog was Benny. He was a 115-pound shepherd. He was a big guy. We started a program with him at the tail end of his career. We were working him for institutional disturbances in jails and prisons. So all the dogs were trained in the prison. We put them in muzzles. If you went into the jail, the dog was in a muzzle. We call it a cell extraction. Some people just maybe don't want to come out of their cell. They'll strip down to their birthday suit or their skivvies, lather up with baby oil, and then dare us to come in and get them. And what we would do is we'd issue a couple of warnings. Warning, we have a trained police dog. Come out or you may get hurt. And once they hear that dog barking, usually they gave up. But if they didn't want to and they fight the dog in a muzzle, we teach the dog that's how you teach a dog how to engage a man, how to actually fight a man. You teach him in a muzzle so he's not always biting. So he learns how to punch him with the muzzle, rake him with his dew claws.
This is him here, is it?
Yeah, that was Benny. 115 pounds. This dog I've got here, dude, is 90. So he was a
90.
big shepherd. This dog was from Germany. He was a Schutzen 3. And
Beautiful dog. You want to show the camera?
yeah, sure. This is Benny.
Yeah. And so you must have seen some pretty crazy situations. Maybe it was with your dogs or with other people in the force. Do you have one or two maybe outstanding stories that were just unbelievable that you saw dogs involved in? Something that maybe people wouldn't believe they were hearing?
I'm sitting here thinking of the statute of limitations. Yeah, I just had a lot of fun with them. This dog in particular was big, and his body wore out. So at the tail end of his career, he was the very first K-9 for the department I worked for. It was the city of Las Vegas at the time. And they decided to attach a K-9 to our tactical team for the street and what I described as institutional disturbances. So at about 7, 8 years old, we had a child abduction. So a guy ran off with a kid, and he was in an area, and we pulled the perimeter. And as I realized where he was at in this neighborhood, the neighbors were pointing he was in the backyard. He had already dropped the kid and took off in this neighborhood. So as I went to the first wall, there was 2 walls I had to go over, and there were 6-foot block walls. As I went to the first wall, I thought, I hope he can make it. And before I realized it, Benny was already went by me. It was on the other side of the wall, looking at me like, "Come on, old man, we got shit to do." And then made the second wall. And this particular guy was in the front of the house, and he was looking for us. He didn't realize I was in back of him, and he realized the dog was there, and he went to give up, screaming, "Please don't let the dog bite me." And I sent the dog, but the dog there was what they call a hog wire, a 2x4 wire, and Benny bounced off that wire. That's a lot of times where I describe where a dog can get hurt and he doesn't even know. We're in drive, what we call drive. We're hunting. We were going to get the deer, and I climbed the fence. And as I was climbing over the fence, Benny realized he was trying to get to me. He actually, with his teeth, ripped this chain link, ripped this wire, and then made it through the wire. And that's after that all happened, I was checking his teeth. Dogs break teeth. My second dog bit so hard, the veterinarian, the specialist said he bit beyond the integrity of his teeth. My second dog, Sharky, had 4 stainless steel teeth. From that, my department was gracious enough to buy a grill.
A grill?
A grill.
So he looked like a rapper.
Dental work. Yeah, he was the dog that was referred to as the dog with the grill. So,
could you see it, like the front teeth?
Oh, they were capped. They were stainless steel. 2 of them were posts and 2 were capped. Yeah. And then my third dog was Popeye, and that was strictly a narcotics dog. But Popeye was dangerous too. He was a black shepherd with yellow eyes, and all the dogs were imports from Europe.
Why Europe? Or you mentioned Germany earlier.
They breed more for temperament. The Europeans are looking for, beauty is as beauty does, as the saying goes. So it could be a magnificent looking dog like that Benny or any of these other dogs, but if they don't do the work and they don't have the drive or the temperament or clear in the head to do the work, too bad for the Americans. We breed for look, for ears, eyes, size, whatever. But we the heart is everything. You can't put a heart in a man or a dog. He has to come that way. So they're bred for that.
Who's more driven? Is it the guy or the dog?
They're about equal.
Yeah.
They'll climb over each other to get in a fight. They honor each other. When you're working a dog in the field, he'll lay down for you and you'll do the same for him. I don't let a dog jump. Back in the day, we had trucks, big trucks. I buy strictly, vans, minivans. I call it the civilian K-9 unit. So as they get older, they can step in and out of it. The jumping in and out of a vehicle really wears a dog out. And you do that 30 times in a shift. It's hard on a dog. It's hard on his shoulders, his pasterns, his hips, mostly the front end, the shoulders. So, I don't throw the ball for the dogs. I won't let anybody else throw the ball for the dogs. And I watch out for them, like that one.
What's the difference between a working dog and, I guess, a regular pet dog in terms of the way you need to look after them?
Well, you got to remember, a lot of people, there's a lot of movies out there with these German Shepherds and Belgian Malinois, and then everybody wants to go buy one. And they just bought a handful. That dog needs to be trained. That dog needs to be worked. And then the sad thing about it, especially in this country, they buy these dogs, and they think they want what they see on a movie or a TV, and then that dog winds up in the shelter, and it's a sad case. So there's really no difference whether it's your pet. I don't like to call them my pet. They're my partners. They're my friends. But when people buy one of these dogs for a pet or just to have a couch potato, they're not couch potatoes. You need to get up and go work with your dog. And it's not work if you're into it. It's a relationship. If you look at nature by itself and the dog lives in the moment. He's not living in yesterday or tomorrow. He's right now. What are we doing? And if you embrace that, life is all about living in the moment. So you live in the moment with these guys. So when you're with them, that's the moment.
You've always tried to supplement your dog's diets, I guess, to keep them in top physical shape.
Of course.
What was it to you when you finally discovered VitaDog? Why was that such an important moment to you?
I think where you guys are going in the ingredients and what we're thinking now, what we've learned, and you guys are on top of that for what we need. That always intrigues me because, again, I talked to you about the K-9's the last frontier. Nutrition seems to be the last frontier. So when you guys really are thinking outside the box of what these guys need, what their bodies need, what their hearts need, their bones, and you're putting it into one product, that's important. That's important.
That for us was the entire brief. We took research papers when we went to our nutritionists and we said, we got to hit every single criteria. And on the back of literally every single bag, it says dog health made easy because people don't know, people don't have the information that maybe you do. So we got to try and make it as accessible for dogs everywhere, I suppose.
I like what you're doing with the product. I like you guys' energy. I'm not going to back something I don't believe in. So I'm more than willing to, I know you're kind of new to the game, but I like that part too, because that puts you on the edge. We're not talking about a product that's 30 years old. This is the way we've always done it. It's important that we're always on top of stuff and we're in front of it.
This is the way we treat our own health. That's what we try to bring to the dogs.
That's right. I believe that too. We're mammals. We're mammals.
Thank you for that, by the way.
That you're
nice
a mammal?
of you to say. No. Yeah.
We're not cutting that part out. You are a mammal.
Am I? Tell us another story. I'm sure you've got tons.
So we get the dogs, and we do every testing we could possibly do for these dogs. And to see, and what we're really looking for is a dog to jump through an eye of a needle for what we need. So there's some great dogs out there, but if they got a quirk, all dogs have quirks, so do people, then we got to watch that. Because we'll spend all this money on the dog. I'm buying dogs 20 years ago, 15 years ago. We're paying $10,000 for a dog. Remember? So now you put the training into the dog. Now you put the dog in the field, and the money just keeps getting crazy for what's invested in the dog. So we had a female at one point. I was with the city. I spent a number of years with the city of Las Vegas, and then I jumped over the state of Nevada. And that's when I was with HIDA, DEA. I was a trooper. So we had a female dog at the city. Just came on. We were a little iffy with her. She had a thing about chasing. We had tactical lights on our guns. So when we do our searching, instead of transferring from weapon to flashlight, we kept everything in one component. So the dog was a little goofy chasing the light. Which is cute for a pet trick for a cat or a dog at home, but it's not good for police. So we're working through that. There's a property that the city owns. It's the museum. It's on Las Vegas Boulevard. And in the museum, you go downstairs and it's the Neanderthal period. It's the dinosaur period. So as we train in this building, so as you go down the stairs, now you got to remember all the lights are off and everything else. We're simulating a building search. And there's 2 Cro-Magnums in the hallway, like right there, big, hairy humans. And we sent the dog down there, and the dog ran back by us and said, "Guys, run for your fucking lives. There's something down there I've never seen before." And we had to send it back. Run for your lives. I would, a story. One of my favorites is working in the jails, because you'd have what we call an institutional disturbance, otherwise known as a riot. And the guys don't want to lock down. And there's some properties, Stuart Mojave. There's a couple hundred inmates. They're 2 stories. And you could actually go in there with a dog instead of bringing in 25, 30 guys in all tactical gear. And somebody's going to get hurt for sure. And the garbage cans are on fire and they're throwing stuff at you from the top tiers. And you could go in there with a dog and, nobody seems to want to get bit. So we had a few of those. So I always got a kick out of those.
I have one question for you, which is if you could leave dog owners with one piece of advice after all the experience you have, what would it be?
Watch your dog's weight. The big one is the weight. We would have guys, there was 6 to 9 of us. So we wouldn't see each other. We were all working different shifts. So what would happen is we would have training night, and that's when everybody shows up. So now we have a senior dog for maybe a week, maybe 2. And then you get out of the car with your dog, one dog at a time. We'd run through a training scenario. And if your dog was a little overweight, all your other handler buddies would start making pig noises. And it would really piss the other guy off. And he says, I swear I'm feeding him by the description that's on the bag. And it's just like us. What you eat for calories in a day might be different than what I eat. So it's not what's on the bag. It's not what's on the bag. It's how the dog looks. So the number one thing is people, as these dogs get older, especially as they get older, if they've got too much weight on, what does it do to us? The heart, the bones, the joints, it wears them out. It wears them out. Weight is critical. They never forget. We have memory loss. We forget how something works. Their job is to do that. So my wife's referring to a dog that was retired for 2 years, and we took her out for some training, for some work, find some dope, and she did it yesterday. Was that a mosquito? The fuck was that? What the fuck was that?
English. He was trying to see if you're still awake.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I'm really curious because, you spent so much time with these dogs and you've said how close you are. These are your partners. What did they teach you in life?
That living in the moment for me is everything. The true value of life. The Buddhists chase it forever, It's in the moment. Yeah. For example, as tired as I am tonight, you guys have taken up my house all fucking day, and I've been sitting outside waiting for you.
In the rain.
In the rain.
Yeah.
It's all right, but here's the point. What we're doing right now, and the bitch over there slapping his hands, but here's the point. We're having a good time. We're in the moment. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm having a good time with you guys. Why wouldn't we have a good time?
We've had a very good time with you today.
Yeah, we're having a good time, but why would I do anything else? Why is it like, here's how stupid I get with the moment. At this time, this date, this will never happen again. Why wouldn't we enjoy it?
We're doing it again on Thursday.
No, you're not doing it with me. Yeah, I lost the dog as my dog as a kid. Excuse me. My dog as a kid was, I used to get put on 2 weeks restriction for saying get him. I learned I've been doing this for a long time, maybe 60 years. So the dog got cancer and lost his front leg at 8 years old. And I went to pick him up that night, and it wasn't like, oh my God, I lost my leg. What are the other dogs going to think of me? Just go on. I saw that immediately. Just go on. These guys don't live like that. I've watched these dogs die. They've died in my arms, in my lap. It's not like they're whining about anything. We had a cute little dog here a year or 2 ago, and, he had cancer. He had 6 weeks to live. My wife, he went 18 months. 18 months, 18 months, $10,000. But you know what? That dog never said to me during the day, oh my God, I'm going to die. He just lived every day. They teach us so much. If I could get it, if I could tell anybody that, people that call me, I get a lot of calls. I grew up in this town. I get a lot of calls with people with their dogs passed. And here's the deal. They honor us. So why not honor them? And quality of life is everything for the dog. Your products, the way we feed them, even at the tail end of their journey, it's our responsibility to make sure they have a quality life. We should do that with people. If you're on the tail end of your journey and you don't want to keep living like this, check out. But they don't do that. They do that in Europe some places. Yeah. Some people deserve to be put to fucking sleep. You know what I mean?
Because it sounds like your childhood dog had such an impact on the way you looked at the world. Why did you get into law enforcement and then specifically the K-9 unit?
That was a dream of mine as a kid, to be a K-9 cop. And I just never thought I'd get there. And I got on the police department, and it was the early 90s, and they just started bike patrol. I was an avid cyclist. I rode bikes for 5 years. I adored that job. That job wasn't even like, I never felt like I was going to work. You know, to working with the dogs. I love working with the public. I love talking to people. I mean, I just adored it. The whole thing. They sent me to schools and training, and I did a lot of communication in classes. There was something about it. It's the world's changed. It's hard to watch. Try to do this life in wherever you're at in whatever part of the world without cops. Try that. See what that looks like.
No, thank you.
He's back.
So it looks like we have got a little thank you for you.
Oh, I'm gonna light that up right here in the kitchen. You know what, babe? You like these
not
guys?
great.
Give me a light. I'm gonna light this right now. No, I'm kidding. I just try to piss her off.
Keith,
Yes, sir.
I just want to say thank you so much for coming on today. It's
my
talking
pleasure.
to us. It's been amazing.
Good job, you guys. Keep it up. Save our dogs. Keep them living.
We'll try our best.
Yeah. Good stuff. I admire you guys for doing this.